Could things like depression be a familiar spirit, mental illness, lack, poverty, just different things we see happening in our life, especially if it's a pattern that happens in our family, more than one person going through the same issue? Could those things be a familiar spirit that's running rampant in the bloodline? I was just sitting here thinking about my life and just things that I observe, and being a person who has struggled with mental health issues and seeing other persons in my family go through similar situation, it brought me to the conclusion that not only is this like something that happens in the family, but maybe some of these things they have, it's not just physiological natural occurrences, but some of these things have their roots in the spiritual realm. If they're running through our bloodline, they're generational. And I'm wondering and coming to the conclusion that when it comes to certain things that we see repeat in our life and that of our family, that perhaps it's a familiar spirit. A familiar spirit is something in our bloodline, in our generation, that goes about from person to person. It different people. It could skip one person in the bloodline and another person. It manifests certain characteristics, and we may have one family member, for example, battling with mental illness, and another person, they don't have that issue, and they're all came from the same mother and father. And to me, those things are familiar spirit because that spirit is there in the bloodline. How that came about, it could be a result of trauma, it could be a result of some sin or wickedness that some of our forefathers did, that opened the door to the satanic, opened the door to the demonic realm, and it gave way for a certain spirit to come in, and that spirit took up residence in that bloodline. And from my experience, the person in the family that seems to get the most attack or the most manifestation with certain negative things are the ones that are the most anointed, or the ones that are chosen to do a great work for the kingdom of God. And that is the person. It seems that some of these curses afflict, especially when it comes to things of the mind. It afflicts you so that you can't think, you can't focus, you can't really go forward into your purpose with execution and strength and power the way that you would want to in your heart. You know that you have these things that God put in you to do, but it's hard to get out, it's hard to execute because these things are just bombarding and incapacitating your mind and your ability to really push forward and continuously bring in limitations and hindrances and road blockages and spiritual miscarriage and abortion to your destiny. So, let me know what you think. Comments if you think that certain things in the bloodline, mental illness, or it could be certain families suffer, cycles of poverty, or some families like diseases, some family it's like alcoholism or jail. Grandfather committed a crime and the son and then the grandchildren are all like in and out of prison. And I think a lot of those things has its foundation in realms of darkness, and they're generational curses, and they are familiar spirits. So that is my opinion on that.